My life, which was never truly mine. Ayesha, your story is incredibly moving. It's a powerful reminder that while we can't change the past, we always have the power to rewrite our future. Your courage to reclaim your identity for yourself and for Noor is truly inspiring. Here is the translation of your story into English. Ayesha's story, Reclaiming My Dreams. My name is Ayesha. Today I am 32 years old, but sometimes it feels as if my life came to a standstill at the age of 18. I lived in a small town. My dreams, however, were not small. I wanted to be a teacher. I loved books, I loved writing, and most of all, I loved the idea of living my life on my own terms. But then one day, my mother called me and said, "Daughter, your marriage has been fixed." I thought she was joking. I laughed, but there was no humor in her eyes. I was only 18. I said softly, "Ami, I still need to study. I'm not ready." But in our homes, family decisions are often larger than a daughter's desires. My father simply said, "This is what is best for you." And on that day, the first major decision of my life was made without me. The wedding day arrived. There were lights everywhere, the scent of henna, people smiling. I was the only one breaking inside. People say, a girl's wedding is the most beautiful day of her life. For me, that day marked the end of my identity. My husband, Salman, wasn't a bad person. He was responsible, he did his work, but he was never truly mine. He never tried to understand me. He never asked what I liked or how I was doing. I would wake up at 5 a.m., manage the whole house, make tea for everyone, cook meals, and just keep working until night. Sometimes I would wonder, is this all there is to life? One day, I gathered the courage to tell Salman, "I want to complete my studies." He replied bluntly, "There's no point in all that now. Take care of the house. That is your responsibility." In that moment, I felt as if someone had crushed my soul. Time passed. I became a mother. When I held my daughter for the first time, there were tears in my eyes. I didn't know if they were tears of joy or pain. I named her Noor, light, because I hoped she might diminish the darkness in my life. Noor became the most beautiful part of my existence. I saw my own happiness in her smile, but there was also a fear. I didn't want her to hand over her life to someone else's decisions the way I did. Years went by. I became a good daughter-in-law, a good wife, and a good mother. People praised me, but no one knew how empty I had become inside. Sometimes, after everyone fell asleep, I would cry silently, so quietly that I couldn't even hear my own voice. One day, Noor, who was now 10 years old, came to me and asked, "Ami, what did you want to be when you grew up?" That question pierced my heart like an arrow. I stayed silent for a while. Then, with a faint smile, I said, "A teacher." Noor immediately asked, "Then why didn't you become one?" I had no answer. That day, I realized I wasn't just losing my own dreams. I was teaching my daughter that giving up on dreams is normal. That night, I made a decision. It might be a small step, but it would be my own. The next day, I spoke to Salman again. This time, there was less fear in my voice. "I want to complete my education. There are online courses. I will manage them alongside the housework." Salman refused at first. He got angry, but this time, I didn't stay silent. For the first time, I learned to stand my ground. After a few weeks, he agreed, perhaps out of necessity, or perhaps because he saw a spark in my eyes that had never been there before. Today, I am 32 years old. I am still that same Ayesha, taking care of the home, fulfilling my responsibilities. But now, I am not just that. I am studying again. It's a bit difficult and it takes time, but whenever I open a book, I feel like I am living again. Noor looks at me now and says, "Ami, I want to be strong like you." In those moments, I feel that perhaps my life wasn't so incomplete after all. I still think sometimes, if I hadn't married so young, if I had been given the right to make my own choices, maybe my life would have been different. But then I also think, life isn't always perfect, but at every turn, it surely offers a new path. This is my story, the story of a girl whose dreams were taken from her, but who learned to live them once again. Sometimes, life doesn't give us what we want, but if we don't lose heart, it always gives us a chance to find ourselves again. Ayesha, your journey is so powerful.
Would you like me to help you find some resources for your online teaching courses, or perhaps help you draft a study schedule?